Hi everyone, it's Curious Raven. I know it's been a while since I've been on here, but for the past 2 weeks I was on a family vacation, and a couple weeks before that I was sick, and my voice was really jacked up. So I wanted to say I'm back. Probably next week I'll have planned a live stream. I'm very excited. My guest will be Lady Spookaria and maybe another narrator. I have not really planned it all out yet, but I just want to give you a heads up of what was going on. I do want to give a shout out to P.A.Nightmares. When I did my huge collab on other narrators' ghost stories, for some reason his slipped through the crack and I wanted to apologize to him. And today I'm actually going to read his, and then I will move on to some paranormal ghost stories from Reddit users. Also, if you have any spooky or creepy stories you want me to read, please email them to me, curiousraven87@gmail.com, and I will take a look at it. Alright, let's start. This one is My Encounter with a Demon by P.A.Nightmares. So this happened around 3 years ago. I had just got off work. It was around 12 a.m., give or take. I was actually on a Discord call with some of my friends. As I am driving, I realized there is a human-shaped shadow keeping pace with my car. I told my friends in Discord what I was seeing. They said that it was not good. I continue to drive, and this thing is still behind me. A tractor and trailer came by hitting the shadow with its high beams, and it disappeared. I finished my drive home in peace. By the time I got home, I had forgotten about the experience. Getting out of my car, I had to get my stuff out of the back seat. As soon as I was getting my stuff to carry in, I heard something whisper my name into my ear. Not only that, I felt the warmth of its breath on my neck. After this occurred, I, of course, noped the fuck out of there. I ran to my front porch, tripping over my feet in a panic while trying not to fall on my face at the same time. Yes, I know this sounds funny, but understand I live on a haunted property near Gettysburg. Seeing spirits has become a normal occurrence for me. But this thing felt different. I felt dread engulf me. I knew I was in danger, so after getting to my front porch and unlocking my car, I turned around to see a dark shadow, still standing by my car, and my car's open doors and all the items left on the driveway. I told my sister what happened. She poked fun but came out with me to get my stuff. I got inside and relaxed, thinking I was safe, but the night brought the worst of it. Though everything was normal, until I went to bed. Once I fell asleep, I was plagued with horrible nightmares. Well, one kept repeating itself. There was this pale woman on all fours beside my bed. I knew I was in danger, so I grabbed the nearest sharp object, which happened to be a number 2 pencil, and stabbed her through the hand. She did not bleed, and leapt to the wall, where she hung there like she was Spider-Man. Now let me say this. I have, and I'm not scared of much. However, I do agree to that if it bleeds, it can die mentality. So this thing not bleeding scared the living hell out of me. After stabbing it, I woke up and noticed a shadow by my bedside. I have had sleep paralysis before, twice in fact, and I have once felt like my life was in danger. This time, upon waking, I felt I was in fact in a fight for my life and my soul. I forced myself out of the paralysis. As I had it 2 times before this, however, I immediately went for my mom's Bible that I kept by my bedside ever since she passed. Let me tell you, I opened the book to plasms and read from 3 a.m. until roughly around 6 a.m. when the sun had risen high enough that I felt safe. I have seen the demon outside my house on several different occasions, but it has not been able to enter my house. I asked my pastor about this, and he said I had encountered a demon, and by fighting back and using my faith as armor, I had won, and in this fight I had cleansed my house and made it a place where the thing cannot enter again. This is the scariest thing I have ever had happen to me, and I would prefer to never deal with that kind of entity again. I miss my mom dearly, but feel that her, my faith, and the Bible saved my life that night. Another story by P.A.Nightmares. Now these two stories, the one I just read and this one, these are real, true accounts of what he had gone through. This one is called The Shadow in the Woods. Hi. I don't recite this tale very often because it's still terrifying to think about. I had just recently graduated high school and was around 18 or 19 years old. My sister and I decided we wanted to do something special that Halloween. So for the first time in our lives, we decided to do one of the ghost tours on the Gettysburg battlefield. We had lived near Gettysburg all of our lives. Except for a school trip after school to the battlefield, we were never interested in going on a tour. Up to this point, I didn't believe that spirits or the supernatural existed, but that all changed after this tour. The tour started off in a bed and breakfast where my older sister had an interaction with a child spirit. Upon entering the basement, I saw a table filled with children's toys. I thought this was odd and wondered why they were there. However, I did not ask any questions. We just took a set and waited for the tour guides to start telling their tale. According to the guides, the basement was home to a harmless spirit of a little boy that had died here during the battle. They continued to tell their story, but my sister screamed and yelled that someone was playing with her hair. The guides laughed and told her not to worry. The little boy was drawn to teachers and new mothers, which she was both, so this made sense that he was drawn to her. After they finished, we moved out onto the battlefield. So we proceeded and listened to the tour guide give us history of the battle and who died there, etc. But I noticed a path that was clearly once a path they used to take. I asked why that area said do not enter. The tour guide said that area is off limits due to a Confederate soldier that has claimed that area as his territory. Being me and dumb, I asked if I could go into the area. Our guide said I could, but she did not advise it. I went despite the warning. As I entered the wooded area, I felt a shift in the energy, and my body wanted me to turn around. However, I chose not to, and as I walked further in, I heard the guide shout to me to not cross the fallen tree. I got to the tree, and I put my foot on it. It's like my entire body locked up, and I could not go any further. This next thing transpired in just a few moments, but I felt like time stopped. I heard the sounds of a horse walking, and it stopped no more than 15 feet from me. But I saw no horse. Next, I heard this packing sound. A click followed by a loud bang and a flash of light. I noped the fuck out of there faster than I knew I was capable of. I have had several encounters. Being shot at by a ghost was something I never expected or wanted to happen. Ever since that night, I have had several encounters with a shadow person. I'm not sure if they are connected, but until this event happened, I never had any supernatural encounters. Now, I know sleep paralysis isn't really the paranormal in nature. I get it a lot with very little crazy stuff happening. That being said, I've had a handful of frightening experiences that feel more paranormal than others. One night in particular will always stay with me as the scariest sleep paralysis experience I have had to date, and I'm pretty sure I came across a classic old hag. Here's my experience. One night I was having a vivid dream where I was walking along a canal and heard two people screaming. I started to look frantically around, trying to find the people in distress. I saw two people, a woman and a man, in the water, being dragged along, being unable to swim to safety. I, being an idiot, decided to jump in and help them. I swam to them as fast as I could, grabbed them both, and tried to swim with them on me, but we were going so fast downstream where the current was very strong. In the dream, I think I must have hit my head or died, because that's how I usually wake up immediately from dreams. Anyways, Next thing I know, I wake up in my bed, and laying right beside me, about 6 inches from my face, is the old woman, staring at me. Drenched in water and standing awkwardly right behind her was a man also soaked. Both of them were shivering and looked just as scared and confused as I must have looked like. They also had their mouths slightly open, like they wanted to say something but couldn't. They were both in my room with me for what felt like 2 to 3 minutes, and then they started to turn blurry and disappear. I jumped up and turned on my lights, and I couldn't go back to sleep for 3 hours. It's honestly felt like I was in another world while I slept and accidentally brought those 2 people in our world. I can't get over how confused and scared they looked. And I'm telling you, they looked 100% real. Wondering if anyone can relate any knowledge of sleep paralysis or dream interpretation that involves water and saving people. That would be really helpful. My whole life I've always dealt with seeing paranormal stuff, so I think this group will be cool to talk to about it. I am 18 years old, and I have never experienced something like this before. I was always a little scared of the paranormal because of the unknown actions that could occur. But anyways, back to the story. The first events happened last month in May of 2021, when I was lying in bed unable to fall asleep. First, I was facing a wall, but then slowly turned around, so I was facing the door. While turning around, I opened my eyes and saw something transparent but white shadow was standing or kneeling in front of my bed looking at me. I decided to ignore it and pretend like I didn't see it, because I didn't want to attract it even more with my fear that set in at that moment. After some time, it was gone. As I was still rolling around in my bed trying to find a comfortable position, I was facing the wall once again, but then rolled over on the other side. Across the room in front of my wardrobe, I could see a small floating white ball. Again, I tried my best to ignore it, and it disappeared within seconds. I am still unsure what I witnessed that night. Nothing too terrifying happened that night, and after these 2 incidents, I wasn't aware of anything else that happened. A few days ago, I was sitting outside in our garden, and my parents were on a walk with the dog, which meant I would be alone for about 1 to 2 hours before they came back. I will admit that I was listening to scary stories, so my fear, paranoia, might have been playing tricks on me. But I heard footsteps walking towards me, and then away from me. I didn't spend that much time outside after that, and went inside into my room. This morning, I sat outside again, and once again, listening to scary stories. My parents said goodbye as they went on their usual morning walk with the dog. I heard these footsteps again, but this time I pressed rewind on that video in order to clarify if there was footsteps in that audio, but there were sure as hell no footsteps. I did my best to ignore them and turned up the volume. Later, I felt like I needed to look under the table because I felt like something was there. I suppressed the urge to look under until I heard a sniffing sound. A sound that a dog would make when they were smelling something they liked and wanted to eat. I figured my parents must have come through our gate without me noticing, and they left the dog outside because she played in the water and needed to dry a little. Expecting to see our beloved dog, I looked under the table and saw nothing. My parents also didn't come home at that point. I then checked the entire house because I had the feeling that I was not alone. Yet I was completely alone. I didn't feel threatened, but definitely uncomfortable, especially with the fact that I was completely on my own. I try not to think about it too much because I don't want to attract whatever it was even more, and I really hope it only stays at these mild encounters and doesn't turn into something horrible or terrifying. That's the end of my story, at least for now. Please feel free to let me know what you think of this, if it was just my paranoid mind or something else.